Hey everybody, I'm Stacy Lyn Harris, and today I'm collaborating with a couple of YouTubers, and we're answering the same 20 questions. I hope you'll stay tuned and get to know me a little better, and I'm welcoming you into my home, and I hope you will get some hot tea or some coffee and join me now as I share with you a little bit about my journey. So, the first question is, have you ever had anyone say anything negative to you about staying home or working from home? Well, I come from a very career-minded family, and I was raised in a very career-minded family. And I was a psychology major in my undergraduate and school, and then I went to law school, and I passed the bar, and I worked for a couple of years, but at the time I had a baby. I had a baby my last year in law school, and I was married, and we moved to Birmingham after that, and I worked in Birmingham, Alabama as a lawyer for a couple of years. The only real negative thing that I've had people say is just, well, you're wasting your education. The thing is, I don't believe anything's ever wasted, and I don't think you do anything ever just in vain. I have used my legal career, I've used my psychology degree, I've used every kind of education I think I've ever had except, maybe trigonometry, but my son tells me that I use it all the time and I just don't know it. So I think that I've used every part of my life, every part of the education that I've gotten in raising my kids and helping my husband. He has a dental practice in Montgomery, Alabama, and I've been able to help him with a ton of stuff with that. And then now that I've started my own business, I write my own contracts. I do a lot of things just, kind of things that I already just know how to do, and I just go ahead and do it. So I think that my education has not been wasted. I don't think anybody's ever is, and especially it's never wasted when you stay home with your children if you're able to do that. The second question is, what is your favorite or least part about staying at home? So, I love every part about staying at home, but I'd have to say, I grew up as an only child with my mom and my stepdad, and I had a lot of solitude, a lot of time to myself, and I don't have that now. I have 7 kids and a husband, and we homeschool, and I've always homeschooled, and so I've had the kids with me pretty much 24/7. So I would have to say that I miss to some degree, but what I've gained is so much more than what I've missed in that solitude that I have really no complaints. So the next question is, what is your favorite or your least favorite chore? So my favorite chore would be cooking. And I don't call that a chore, but a lot of people call that a chore. My mom didn't cook. She didn't like to cook. And I love to cook, and I don't really even mind cleaning up the kitchen, though my kids will help me a lot, thank goodness. And so, we make about 27 meals a day in my kitchen. So it is used a lot. And that would be my favorite chore. Plus, when I'm cooking, I'm using my hands, and I'm focused just on that and on the conversations that I'm having with the kids in there, or with my husband, or whoever happens to be here. And it's just a time where I'm not distracted by the cell phone or social media and things like that. So it's probably my favorite. And then the next question is, what is your least favorite chore? And my least favorite is filing papers. And I do not like to file papers, and so I'll wait until my desk is just packed full of bills that need to be filed after I've paid them and all of that, and then finally I will do that. So that is my least favorite. So what time do you wake up and what time do you go to bed? I go to bed around 10 or 10:30, and I would love to go to bed earlier, but my boys like to stay up later since they're older, and so I'll stay up with them, and then I'm the last one to get up in my family. Everybody gets up around here around 6 o'clock or 6:30, and I usually don't get up until about 7:15 to 7:30 depending on the day. But I've realized that I've had children that I need about 15 extra minutes per child from the time that I started having kids. I need that extra time, 15 with each child. So it's put me at needing about 9 to 9.5 hours of sleep. So anyway, I find that I'm a better person when I get that sleep, and my kids like me better, and I like me better, and I feel like I'm doing a ministry and a favor to my family by getting extra sleep. A lot of women I know get up and have their quiet times really early, and I love the idea of that because you're not disturbed and you're not listening to a lot of chatter and a lot of, things in the background when you're having your quiet time or, when you're doing something really important. But the sleep to me is more important. Okay, so do you put anything on in the background while you clean or work or cook? So I would say yes. We like to listen to a lot of music around here, and so we listen to music pretty much all the time. So we are dancing. I like to dance around the house a lot of times when I'm cleaning up, but we're always cleaning up together, and so the kids like music. I'd probably listen to a podcast, but I can't pay attention to it when I have everybody else around me. So do you get dressed most days, or do you stay in your PJs? Well, it depends on what you call PJs. I do get dressed every day, and I don't stay in my pajamas, but I usually get dressed in something comfortable like yoga pants and a sweatshirt because I don't like to clean up in my good clothes. So one of my daughters, my youngest daughter, really likes me to get dressed up. So I make sure that I put lipstick on every day and that I match. But other than that, I'm pretty much like, comfortable. Okay, so how often do you do your hair and makeup? Well, my hair pretty much looks like this until I'll rewash it again. So I don't really have to do a whole lot to it for about 3 days. And makeup I don't put on until I go out of the house or unless I'm filming. So I will wear lipstick, like I said, but normally I do not put any makeup on except for my lipstick unless I'm leaving. And I go out of the house probably twice a week. And those days, because I work so much at home that I don't have a whole lot of time to do a whole lot of other things. But about 2 days a week I'll go out, and so I put my makeup on, and I always get dressed in, decent looking clothes. So what is your trouble zone or area in your home that needs the most help? Well, I mentioned before my filing, and it is pretty pitiful. And so that needs a lot of help, but I have an organized daughter that helps me with that, along with what another question is later on in here that I'll get to. So I will go ahead and get there. How often do you find yourself getting distracted? Well, probably about every 3 or 4 minutes. So I've always been, I can focus, or I don't think I could, have passed the bar and, do some of the things that I've needed to do. But I can get distracted pretty easy, and I like to do a lot of things at once, and I'm pretty much, can be all over the place. So I get distracted a lot, and I have to get back into focus. But when I'm focused, I'm focused. All right, do you enjoy staying at home, or do you miss going to a job every day? I do not miss going to a job every day because I never have really gone to a job every day. So I pretty much went to school, and then I got married, and then I continued school because I was in law school, took the bar exam, and then I worked for a couple of years, but I worked for myself, and so I've never really had that 9 to 5. Well, I have, because in the summers when I was in high school, I had the 9 to 5 job, but I don't miss it at all. And I think, I'm not a person that likes to be bored, and staying at home, I'm never, ever, ever, ever bored. So there's something new all the time. I've got kids from 8 to 23, so it is just, it's busy with different people's situations and issues. Sometimes it can be crazy and overwhelming, but there's just nothing like it. And I absolutely love it. So I don't miss it. All right, so what is your never-ending chore? That would have to be laundry. Laundry is crazy around here, and it's never, ever, 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 ever ending. So that would be the never-ending chore. What is your favorite way to relax or have me time? Well, I used to really desire the me time, and I would maybe go for a long drive, but that was very, very rare. And I have learned to love not having me time, except I do get a bath every day, and I love a bubble bath, and I love to read a book while I'm in there. And I usually read the same books over and over because they're so interesting to me and they're so inspirational. And a few of them are Labrie, Elizabeth Elliot's, all of her books, and I just get inspiration from them, and I love it. And that's just kind of, I guess, me time. But often, one of my daughters likes to come in there and talk to me. So I don't always get that. Okay, so then, what's your favorite, how often does your husband or significant other, and it would be my husband, chip in? He chips in everywhere. So the only thing that he doesn't do at home that I do is do the filing, the part I don't like. And he does that at work, and he does his bills, at work. He owns his own business, and so he does payroll. He does all of that. So I give him a break here, and I do all of that for the home management, and I also do it for my business. And so I think that's why it gets really stacked up, because for me to create content, I have to not do that, and I really need to have somebody to do that. So when do you find time to do chores? Well, pretty much our whole life is a chore. So we're doing chores all the time, and my family helps, and so I'm not having to do them. I don't ever feel like that I'm having to do too much because I have a lot of help. But I started teaching the kids to do chores from the time they were like 2 or 3 years old. So they are actually probably younger than that, as soon as that they could hand me their fork, So we've all been doing chores for a very long time, and my husband's been so great about being a good example of chipping in, and so everybody does that. All right, so how do you balance being a homemaker and creating YouTube content? Well, I don't think I balance it very well. And I don't know that anybody is really exceptionally balanced. I'm not sure that I really have time for it, but I feel like there's a need for it, and I enjoy it, and I feel like at the same time I'm teaching my children how to create a business and how to grow that business. And so I feel like I'm doing a whole lot of things at one time when I'm creating a YouTube. It's not just YouTube, it's encompassing family and cooking and all of the things that I do. So I'm doing it anyway, and but this year I think I'm going to try to do them all at the same time, and then just release them as they go, as the year goes. So I'm going to do maybe 4 big, days or 4 big weeks, and create content on those weeks and then release it. So that's, my plan this year, but it's always a struggle. I don't think anybody can ever be totally balanced. So what's your favorite room in your home and why? And it would be my kitchen, my dining room, because we're in there the most, and that's where most of our conversations really come from. And in the dining room, it's the place where industry comes. My husband makes guns in there. My boys, clean their tools, and my girls do paintings, and whatever we're doing, it's usually in my dining room because it's kind of connected to the kitchen. So we can go back and forth talking, and I can look at whatever they're doing, and it's just a great place for creativity and industry. So the next one is, do you feel like your home reflects your personal style? And I would say yes, because my husband and I decorated it. We have beautiful tapestries, detailed work. My husband's a very, very detailed person. We have, deer that he has harvested for our family. We have paintings that we've done each person has done paintings and needlework, and I've framed those things, and so we have those things surrounding us. We have pictures of people from the 1800s in our family hanging on the wall. This house is a representation of my husband's family that lived in Mississippi in the 1800s. So we have, a lot of historic things from a simpler time. It might have been harder to live at that time, but it was simpler. There was no internet. There was no, the distractions were not quite, I don't think, what they are today. And so I try to take us back in time a little bit to experience that family life and that just wholesomeness and simplicity that they had. And that's where we do our homesteading type stuff with the chickens and the bees and the garden and bringing in our produce and cooking it and homemade from scratch food. And it's very representative of how we live. And it really does represent us well. Okay, so what does your home smell like? Well, it sort of just depends, but we make bread every day, so a lot of the times it smells like sourdough bread baking in the oven, and a lot of times it smells like, lately, it smells like tiki masala because I've been making that quite a bit. But it just depends on what I'm cooking, and there's always something cooking, so it's always going to have some kind of smell like really comforting food. Last question. What is your strong point and weak spot when it comes to homemaking? Well, I think my strong point is that I have a passion for it. I think anytime you have a passion for anything, you're going to be successful. So my hope is that that's going to remain true for what I'm doing. And, with the homeschooling and my oldest son's in dental school, I've got 2 in college, and I'm hoping that the others will, grow up and do what they're intended to do, what God has planned for them, and what they're good at, what they're skilled at. I'm hoping that a life here in this home and have an industry, creativity in the home and pointing outward, that is going to help my children to become purposeful and who they're meant to be. And that will be success to me. So, so I would say that passion is my strong point. My weak point would probably be expectations, because I get real excited about something and I dream to the 9th degree and everything is great and grandiose, and yet I don't know if those expectations will be met, and oftentimes they're not instantly met, and so I can be disappointed and discouraged. So that would probably be my weak point. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I would love to hear more about you. I would love for you in the comments to tell me what your strong point is and what your weak point is and how you plan to overcome your weak point and make your strong point bigger. So if you could leave those in the comments and let me know that you're watching, I would just love that. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've got lots of great new recipes and gardening tips and just fun times ahead. So please, please subscribe and tell your friends. I've enjoyed this and thank you for listening. I hope I get to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.